Old Man of the Sea is kind of interesting. Old Man of the Sea is a 2/3 that costs 1 and 2 blue mana. You can choose not to untap Old Man of the Sea during your upkeep, and you can tap Old Man of the Sea to gain control of a creature with power no greater than Old Man's power. You lose control of this creature if Old Man is untapped, if Old Man is removed from play, or if the creature's power becomes greater than Old Man's. This card is pretty cracked for the time. 2 power isn't much, but there are a lot of really strong and interesting cards, even today, with less than 2 power. At the time, I would say your best targets for this would be stuff like Prodigal Sorcerer, Hypnotic Spectre, Royal Assassin, if it was tapped, but I don't know why they would tap their Royal Assassin, why this was untapped. That one would be hard to get, but it would be pretty good if you could. Black Knight and White Knight are probably decent grabs. You could snag a Goblin King to debuff their goblins, which is pretty funny. Cockatrice and Thicket Basilisk are also kinda hilarious. And you could even grab a Verduran Enchantress to cut off their draw engine, which would be really fucking funny. I could go on, but the point is that there were a lot of decent targets for this, even at just 2 power or less. And you could use something like an Unholy Strength on this to, increase the power that you could grab. And that was probably decent back in the day, but I do think that was probably the less optimal thing to do with this card. Also, just a fun fact for you, but 2 copies of this card appeared in the 1994 World Championship deck. So it was probably pretty decent at the time. Old Man of the Sea is originally from Arabian Nights and is a reference to the old man that hopped onto the back of Sinbad and controlled him by doing that. So it's pretty flavorful in addition to being pretty powerful. Wow. I really thought I had more to say about Old Man of the Sea, but I'm kind of already running out of gas. I guess this one will be a short one. I do have a little bit more to say though, so let's carry on. Old Man of the Sea is a really interesting card. It's fun to think about, and its power is kind of surprising. I distinctly remember thinking this card sucked the first time I read it, and it kind of does by today's standards, but it's not complete garbage. It's really interesting because it makes you think deeper about the game and consider aspects and advantages or disadvantages that are deeper than surface level. Now, I don't think this card is complicated or innovated by today's standards, but 30 years ago, cards like this were inspiring people to think deeper about the game. I think that's pretty cool. But yeah, that's it. That's all I have on Old Man, so let's talk about this fantastic piece of art. Old Man of the Sea has one art, and it was illustrated by Susan Van Camp. This piece is probably her best work, at least in my opinion, but it is also by far her most serious work. Her art, if you don't know, is pretty polarizing, and a lot of people don't like it. But the more I go through these old cards and listen to old heads and just kind of appreciate old Magic, the more I kind of think she was just the most unserious shit poster of all time. Like, look at this thing. Is this the creation of a person with no taste and a lack of awareness, or is it finely crafted rage bait by a shit posting savant? I honestly don't know, but it is fucking funny as hell. Old Man of the Sea, however, is just really good art. This does a fantastic job of being interesting but serious, and I think it fits the card perfectly. Oh yeah, another thing that's worth noting, this card has been errataed to be a Jin, so you can blow this up with King Suleiman if that opportunity comes up, which is pretty funny. Helps if my microphone is on. So I'm recording this a bit later because I am editing pretty late. And there's a second art for Old Man of the Sea. There's a Magic Online promo only art. I did not know about that. And I guess for some reason I didn't check before writing this script because I was busy. That's neither here nor there. This was illustrated by Greg Staples, and this is pretty fucking cool. This is my first time seeing this art. I didn't know this existed, and I really like it. He's got that old man nose, fantastic. Otherwise, just gnarly fucking skin. The fingernails are a nice touch. All of it's fantastic. The background is, you know, obviously the background and not really part of what's the focus, but it's still very nicely done. Yeah, that's all I got. I like this card. What are your thoughts on Old Man of the Sea? Let me know if you want. Otherwise, like always, you can like the video if you liked it. You can subscribe if you give a shit. But either way, I hope you have a magical day. Thank you for watching.